to understand that it is necessary. These hard days and these test days are necessary for where you're about to go. That path that you're walking, your destination, you cannot get there without passing through these gates.
Welcome to the Fuel Hunt Show.
What's going on, Eagles? I'm Joey, and welcome to the Fuel Hunt Show. I'm here with Drew, my cousin and co-founder. I'm happy to be here. Are you?
Always, baby.
How you feeling?
Always. I'm feeling great, dude.
Good. I see you're very summer appropriate.
I was gonna mention this. I was gonna coordinate with you and be like, "Are you wearing winter clothes? Is it cold at HQ?" And I've just fully embraced the summer weather. Like when I roll up in jiu-jitsu nowadays, I'm in shorts and a tank top or a cutoff every day. People think I walk off the beach, but
I see. Well, I mean, the sun's out, so the gun should be out.
It's supposed to be 80 today.
It's going to be 80 today. It feels good. I don't know about you, but the sun just, obviously it gives me life, it gives me energy, but I just feel, and I like the rain, but I just feel different when the sun's out, man.
Yeah, everyone does, especially when the seasons change.
Yeah.
From dark, gloomy, and cold to sunny and 85.
That's why everybody starts shooting in Philly. As soon as the weather changes, man, everybody starts shooting because they can't contain themselves.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
If you are, this is related to where we're going to go today, but if you're watching on YouTube, which I highly suggest you do, you will see that I am wearing nothing different than what I usually wear, which is all black.
When we get deep into the summer months, will you be wearing that same attire?
I don't know. I don't want to make a commitment to any other type of attire.
Because no matter what temperature is outside, like the AC will be on in here.
Yeah, the AC will be on.
Unless we want to go full harder mode and go sweatbox, no AC.
Yeah, that's what I did when we first moved in HQ.
Yeah, true.
Before the AC was
AC.
in.
Yeah.
I was here for like 3 months that summer.
Yeah.
And it was a sauna. I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it. I'm not going to commit to a different outfit. What I will say, though, is we both put out stories on our personal Instagrams. I'm not sure if we did it on Fuel Hunt, but I know we did it on our personal Instagram accounts. And we say, hey, look, we're going to be recording on Tuesday. Like, drop your questions. And what I will say is I got a lot of questions that people want to know if I ever change my clothes. Like, why I always wear the same thing.
Yeah.
So
Consistency.
Well, decision fatigue.
Yeah, true.
That's what it is. That's what it comes down to.
And
really.
when you own an apparel company, like the choices, like, people think that we just get every new drop all the time, and Caroline and Brie are good at sending them now, but
yeah.
we're like, oh, get them to the people first.
Keep it in stock for the community. Keep it in stock for the community. Yeah, the amount of questions I got, will you be in something other than black? It was pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. I also cling on, I feel as though certain pieces come along for us, like that Fuel Hunt America made the Hunt hoodie, and we kind of cling to them.
It's like it's just a staple.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a staple. And
I'm gonna rock this one till the wheels fall off.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to. So this is a nice little segue. I wanted to talk today about another question I got. Amidst the 55 questions about my black outfit, I did get another question from an OG, like an OG of the few, Carson, right? Who, fun fact, the first community power hour ever was really Carson in Nashville.
Swinging through.
When I went to Vince Del Monte's event, we went
Yeah.
down there, we set up a table, I ended up speaking, and then Carson swung through in Nashville.
Oh yeah.
So that was like alpha, like community power hour alpha. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like the first of the first.
Oh yeah. You can't be in Nashville and not hit up Carson though.
I know. This is true. So he sent a question through. I'm already hitting the mic. My bad. He sent it. Like, get animated with my hands. You know what I mean? He sent a question through, and he said, "What is your go-to mental cue on hard days?" The quote unquote, how he described it, is the "I want to give up" days.
Yeah.
Right. And number one, I thought it was a great question because it's something we all have.
Yeah.
You have hard days. I have hard days. The few that are watching on YouTube and listening, they have hard days. Like, no one is immune to it.
Yeah.
Right? So, sorry, the AC kicked on. So I want to talk about the mental cues or how we get through hard days. But before we get there, I want to talk about what a hard day is. So Carson, I think he did a great job in summing it up, like the I want to give up days, the days where you wake up and you're like, look, I know I have work to do, but I just don't want to do it. And let's be honest, we all have them, like I said. What is a hard day to you? Not specifically, but how would you describe what makes a day hard? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a good question. I want to start off by saying that anyone, a member of the few who's out there chasing bigger goals or things bigger than themselves, a lot of days are going to feel harder than they don't, right? Because you're constantly battling adversity, overcoming challenges, or just striving to be better. And when you realistically have big goals, the time it takes to get there can also be exorbitant. For me, what a hard day looks like for me, realistically, in business, because I'm a big believer in perspective. So I do feel as though someone else would kill for my problems today. All the problems I think I have really aren't problems, right? So a hard day for me is when things realistically in business it seems like everything is going wrong. When you wake up and you got more fires to put out than you do progress to make. Would you agree with that?
I would. I like what you mentioned. You gently hit on reframing, right?
Yeah.
Because I feel like you and me, like almost to a degree, we don't like to, just like full transparency, we don't like to admit that days are hard.
Yeah.
Like as soon as we sense a hard day, we reframe it. And we're like, hey, look, there's work that needs to be done today, or the work isn't going the way we wanted it to go today, but there's an opportunity in this. Let's focus on that.
Yeah, and I tell Parker, my son, like hard is good. Like it's supposed to be hard. If it's not hard, it's probably not worth doing.
Yep. We say all the time in the community, we say easy days don't end well, hard days harden you. So, but there are some members of the few that maybe haven't honed that reframing tool well enough just yet, because that takes time, man. Like we've been through the muck. We've been through many other things that I want to say that are expletives that I can't because the effort bucket's here, and I left my wallet over at my desk. So
I brought stacks today.
You brought stacks. You got stacks. We've been through it, man. Like the hard days are almost countless at this point. And I think that's the other thing that you were hitting on. Like when you have big goals, big dreams, big aspirations, you've really got to buckle up because you're going to lose track of the hard days. There's going to be so many of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I'll give a shout out to our boy Jocko.
Yeah.
He has that whole good theory or good mentality. And he says like, I remember I read in one of his books, it's like, oh, you spilled coffee on yourself on your way to work? Good. Needed to change my outfit anyway. So that's a great mental tool. If you just want to break it down simply for people,
it's reframing. Yeah.
And if you literally just say good to everything and find a positive perspective, like that can be such a powerful tool.
Yeah, he has done an amazing. Even saying he's done an amazing job. Like he has changed the mentality of society when it comes to, or he has so succinctly explained the tool of reframing that's been around for like, decades or whatever, eons.
Yeah.
He has so succinctly described it and made it so accessible to everybody, which is genius.
Yeah.
So yeah, hats off, man. Hat tip to Jocko. I wanted to break that down. I wanted to make sure that we touched on reframing because you gently touched on it, and then I wanted to make sure that we touched on the fact that you were kind of insinuating that the hard days, they never end. Yeah. They're countless and they continue.
Exactly. Like they should be hard. Yes. Realistically, is what I was getting at. Like, don't wish for days to be easy.
Right. It's a bellwether, right? Like if you, like I just said, like hard days harden you. Like if you are not going through the fire, if you don't have those hard days or those test days, if you want to call them that, you are not progressing as a human.
No.
You know?
You got to break down to build. The one, and I don't know if we'll get into this, but
we can get into whatever you want, man.
The one this was a Few Hunt OG from years ago that I may have reposted.
Dude,
Nowadays,
the archives are deep.
yeah.
The archives are deep on our content, man. Going back 2017.
And I think Caroline might even have this tattooed on her. It might be the one, but it's not the load. Caroline.
She is still going, still growing. Yeah.
Oh, it's still okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not the load that breaks
Brianna
you,
might
it's how
have
you
this
carry
then.
it.
Yep. It's not the load that breaks you, it's how you choose to carry it.
Yeah.
And that stuck with me forever. Like I think I even have it saved on my phone, like in my favorites, just to remind myself. And that's the truth. Like we're all, especially the few out there, chasing things bigger than themselves. We're going to carry a heavy load, right? The burden is heavy.
Yep. As I closed in on HQ, the last 2 miles of the Few Fest, the first Few Fest, we're on Aramingo Ave. I have 45 pounds in the ruck, and then I'm carrying the 45-pound sandbag across my like traps, basically, neck. I thought of that OG, because I would stop for a second and I would go into kind of like a squat and reposition the weight, and I thought,
Wild mobility though.
and I thought of that. Believe it or not, like if you ask the guys, he asked Jesse and Trevor, they were like, "Oh my God, you're squatting with all that weight." And I'm like, it feels better to squat. And it's probably just because some tightness or whatever in my hips, but it feels better to squat right now to reposition how I'm carrying the load than it does to like stop and do it standing straight up or put it down.
That was a literal.
It was a literal application of the OG, and I thought about it. And I don't even think I mentioned that on the Few Fest show. But it just came to me now. So.
Side note, I did. Dean, our friend at Go Ruck,
Scars,
was nice enough to send us rucksacks or ruckers, right?
Yep.
So before that, I typically would do my rucks with a weighted vest, which is, I guess, not legit, right?
No, I mean, still load bearing.
So
You're still load bearing.
I don't have the
carrying.
plate. I didn't buy the plate for it yet, so I put two 25-pound dumbbells in there.
Yeah, dude.
And it was just I've never carried that heavy a weight on my back before, and I went for like a mile or two, and it was kind of rough. Like it was just different.
Well, this is a perfect example of it's how you carry the load, because they're like those dumbbells are like or did you use plates or dumbbells?
Dumbbells.
Okay, those dumbbells are like just like rattling around in the pack.
Well, the rucker holds it pretty well.
Yeah.
Like I mean, it held it pretty well, but
it's also low.
Yeah, like with
it's
the
low
plate, it's like evenly distributed, sitting nicely in that.
And it's higher on your
so
back
my
too.
lower back was like screaming.
It was howling, right? Few Fest 002, May 18th. By the time this show airs, we may have already done it. It's going to be epic.
I think there's gonna be a lot of people at this one.
Yeah.
Because everywhere I go, everyone's like, "Oh my God, like the Few Fest! Like, I saw you guys do that. Like, am I prepared? Am I gonna be prepared? Am I fit enough for it?"
Listen, I'll tell you something. And I've said this, I was gonna say a million times, but if I actually come up with a realistic number, I've probably said it close to 500 times. Is not about the win. It's about the work. So show up to do the work. Don't worry about finishing. Just show up to do the work.
We were just talking before.
If I got to carry you, I will.
It's interesting. We were just talking before this about. We're going a little bit off topic.
Yeah,
here,
I'm gonna bring it back. You know, that's like my thing. That's my job here. I don't want to get fired, man. I'll bring it back.
We were talking about Savage Race, Spartan, like all the obstacle races.
Yep.
And you were saying how you were. It took you however long to finish.
It was like a full day. My first Spartan. Like it took me I was powerlifting. I did not run at all. I was not ready.
And
my cardio. My cardiovascular energy system was just not.
And your functional
ready.
fitness also has to be at a different level than.
I was like pick up heavy things, put down heavy things. That's it.
Yeah, like my first one compared to my second one when I was doing CrossFit at the time.
Oh yeah,
it was much different because I was ready for that kind of stuff. But that being said, it's important, I think, when you're doing the Few Fest or anything like that, to embody that, embrace that mindset of like, I'm going to go out here on a stretcher before. No quit, all commit, right?
I'll do it or I'll die.
Yeah. That's what our first 5-day fast, my friend Frank, he hit me up. I would never done a fast or anything before in my life. Mm-hmm. And he hit me up on like a Sunday. He's like, "Oh, you want to do this?" And I was like, "Sure." And I told him, "Man, I was like, you're gonna take me to the hospital before I quit on myself."
What did we do with Fuel Hunt? We had that moment where we were like, look, we're going to do this or we're going to die.
Down the sword.
I'm going to die on the sword. There is, like, that's a whole nother topic that I want to unpack, that we're going to unpack in our side hustle to main gig 2-part episode. We're going to unpack that, because I really think that people fail to achieve their goals in life, not because they don't know how to achieve them. It's because they never commit to achieving them.
They're
and
not
you
willing
literally have to sit there and say, I will do this or I will die.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and it takes some balls.
Yeah.
You know, it takes some gumption to do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, we took a little bit of a turn, but I'm going to bring us back. So you did a great job of explaining what a hard day is. We touched on some things that relate to how I describe a hard day. For me, a hard day is when it's hard to believe that you can be what you want to be, you can achieve what you want to achieve, you can make the progress that your business demands of you, or your relationships demand of you, or your fitness demands of you.
Yeah.
Like, a hard day to me isn't really about the hard work, it's about the belief. And I talk about that cycle all the time, right? The cycle between belief and hard work, self-belief and hard work, right? I talk about that cycle all the time, and how it's like the key to unlocking anything. So a hard day for me is, I don't really get up and say, I don't want to do this today. Like, that's never in my mind. Like, I want to give up, or I don't want to do this, because I'm just wired differently. Like, I see the work, I do the work.
Yeah.
What I say is, when I get up, it's never, I don't want to do this. It's my hard days are, is this going to work out? You know, like, the work I'm about to do, will it have the desired effect?
Yeah.
You know, and not in the short term, even in the long term.
Yep.
You know?
It's entrepreneurship and dream chasing or goal chasing really comes down to doing an exorbitant amount of work without ever knowing if it's going to pay off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's the hard work.
That's the
what's
hard day for me.
Exactly.
You know, and entrepreneurship especially is a roller coaster, bro. It's just a roller coaster, and like you like, I don't know about you, but you know, we're fortunate to have the support of our community who's out there doing the same thing. Like, that's why we started this whole thing, right? Because we were doing it and we felt so alone.
Yeah.
It was hard to believe that what we were doing was making a difference, not just for ourselves and our families, but for our society. Yeah. So that's why we set out to bring everybody together, because it was so hard to believe when you're alone. You know what I mean? But entrepreneurship, man, especially, like, we can make this parallel in fitness and in relationships and all that stuff. But, you know, look, we're entrepreneurs, so we'll talk about entrepreneurship a little bit. It's a roller coaster, man. I don't know about you, but I can go, I can go through a day here at HQ where I come in the morning and it's a great day.
Yep.
I'm flying high, dude.
Yep.
Like, I'm soaring above the storm, man. I'm the eagle soaring above the storm, right? And then, like, 2 hours later, the heart hits me, and I'm like, is this going to work?
Yeah, sometimes it kind of knocks the wind out of you.
Oh, of course it does, man. The wind goes from beneath your wings, right?
Yeah.
To, like, literally just like the heaviest weight you could ever feel, just dragging you down.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Getting into entrepreneurship, but I used to suggest entrepreneurship for everybody, and now I suggest entrepreneurship for nobody.
Bro, I used to. I don't.
Yeah, you used to.
Listen,
you remember?
Bro.
You remember those days?
I used to bang that drum so loud.
Yeah.
And you know, just like anything in life, you know, I had a certain set of experience at that time.
Yeah.
When it came to entrepreneurship, and we're talking 20 years, 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I had a certain set of experience, and I banged that drum real loud. Now I have a different set of experience, you know, 10, 15 years later, I have a different set of experience, and I know it's reserved for the few.
Yeah.
As are many things in life.
Would you say that entrepreneurial journey was easier than this? Like, it just went smoother?
My first one?
Yeah.
I would say so, only because it was, you know, it was a service-based business.
Yeah.
And it was smaller.
Yeah.
And it was just different. It wasn't e-com. You know, there wasn't manufacturing involved.
Yeah.
It was a software development business, way
Yeah.
different. So did it have its challenges? Of
Oh,
course,
yeah.
man. But like, this is a different game. Like
Yeah.
getting into the e-commerce game, product
And
development, manufacturing,
building a global brand and movement is also
that
not.
manufactures in America
Yeah.
is a whole nother ball of
Yeah.
wax.
Yeah.
You know?
I think brand building, I mean, obviously we have, like, I've been on other entrepreneurial journeys as well, but brand building has to be one of the most challenging things you can do.
Yeah. I think it is. I think it has been since the dawn of time.
Yeah.
You know, since brands began to exist.
Yeah.
You know? It's always been one of the most difficult things to do, because what you're doing is you're building know, like, and trust with people
Yep.
at scale.
Yep.
It's different to build know, like, and trust with people that you interact with on a daily basis, directly, in person, in an office, on a team, things like that. When you're trying to do it at scale to have a massive impact on the world, and most of it you need to do faceless.
Yeah.
Your product speaking for you, what you write is speaking
Your
for
words.
you, everything's speaking for you. There are so many variables,
Yeah.
you know? And if your intentions are pure and you want to do it for the right reasons, like we do, it's even harder,
Yeah.
you know? You can go download the, 100 secrets to, feel myself wanting to start cursing, so I'm going to reel it back in. You can download, 100 secrets to selling your stuff online.
Yeah.
And you can do it in a way that is not service-based
Yeah.
and maybe be successful.
Yeah.
But when you want to do it for the right reasons, it's even harder. And I know that probably sounds counterintuitive, like, oh, well, if you're doing it for the right reasons, shouldn't it be easier? No, it shouldn't, because it takes more effort, especially for e-com,
Yeah.
especially. So, that's what, when it comes to a hard day for me, that's what it is. It's a day that it's hard to believe that everything that you're doing is going to amount to everything that you want to be,
Yeah.
or everything that you're doing is going to amount to everything you want to see change in the world.
Yeah.
And that's a hard day for me. And hard's a relative term, man. Like, some people's battle within is the hardest part of their day. Some people are squared away within for the most part, and the hard work that they have to do externally, not internally, is the harder part of their day. Like, it's a relative term, but I think that what we can do now is, Carson asked about mental cues or the how behind getting through your hard days. So why don't we get into that a little bit? I'll let you go first, because I'm such a gracious host.
Well,
there.
I jumped ahead because I was going to say, reminding yourself that it's not the load that breaks you, it's how you choose to carry it. But also that mental reframing. I use both my tools, but the mental reframing of just saying good, right?
Yep.
And using that perspective and mindset shift to help you overcome and get back to work.
Yep. I love that. I mean, obviously we're cousins, but we've been partners in business now for almost a decade. Well, I'm fast forwarding a little bit, 7 years. I'm rounding up. So how big reframing is. Like, that is my number one weapon, and as far as frameworks go for me, I have a similar framework: remember and reframe. I've written blogs about it, emails about it. Remember who you are, where you came from. You've been through it before. To varying degrees, maybe this hard day is a little harder. Maybe it's the hardest one you've ever went through. But you've went through hard days before. Remember, you've went through hard days before, and you have a 100% survival rate. After you remember that, then it's time to reframe. And you have to look for the opportunity that's nestled inside of the obstacle. Even if that opportunity is just you learning what not to do again. And I realize how hard that is. But you must do it. Because the reality is, people that have huge goals that end up achieving them, the road is unpaved. It's rocky.
That's the truth.
Right? It's unpaved. It's rocky. You're going to get thorns in your feet. Your feet are going to bleed when you walk it. You're going to cry the whole damn way sometimes. You need to understand that it is necessary. These hard days and these test days are necessary for where you're about to go, that path that you're walking. Your destination, you cannot get there without passing through these gates, and walking that path. So it's absolutely necessary. So remember and reframe, that's a little framework of mine. And then one other thing that I wanted to hit on was talking to Carson, and, we were talking, about, actually, no, this was someone that replied to my reply to Carson's story, which I won't mention this community member's name, but we were talking about self-talk, and that also kind of inspired my response, to Carson's story. And one of the things that I tell myself on those days is hunt hard. It was very easy for me to just say fuel hunt, but, one of the things I tell myself is hunt hard. And there's a reason for that, because it's a cue for me to remember not only that I need to match the hard to believe day with a whole bunch of hard work, but that there's also people out there, the few, that are hunting just like I am through that hard day, just like you are through that hard day. I'm not alone. So hunt hard is another mental cue that, or a phrase that I'll say to myself to help me push through the hard days.
That was deep.
Yeah, and if obviously if you're on our email list, for those watching and listening, you hear this type of stuff from me all the time. Like, that's what I try to do in the community newsletters that I send out. Share these types of frameworks and cues, to help people through their day. And many times, your SMS that you send or my email that I send comes in at the right moment when people really need it in the community. And it's not by accident.
No, that's true.
It's not by accident. So hard days. Anything else to mention on hard days?
That little monologue at the end, that was.
What it's
it got me going, dude.
It's a result of going through a lot of hard days. Going through a lot of hard days.
Maybe one of those days today.
Going
That's
through
what
a
it
lot.
felt like.
Going through a lot of those hard days, man. Going through a lot of hard days. Yeah, I mean, look, dude. Like I said, we're entrepreneurs, man. Like, the few that are watching and listening, they're mistaken if they don't think that us sitting in front of these cameras, doing this, if they don't think it's bookended with a hard day yesterday and a hard day tomorrow. Yeah. Like, sometimes hunting hard means getting in front of the camera, sitting here, and pouring into them when our cup's empty.
That's the truth. Because
there were hard days that bookended us recording the show.
I agree.
You know what I mean? So, the monologue came from experience, as does everything that we say on the show, I guess. We'll try to, we try to help the community time collapse, right?
Yeah,
Share our experience. So
real people, real hard work, dog.
Yeah, exactly. All right, we are going to, so this whole episode was inspired by Carson's reply to my story on my personal Instagram account. Why don't you shout out your personal Instagram account, and I'll shout out mine too.
So this is actually a hot topic for me.
Let's talk about it, because
what is my IG handle? Say it.
So
as you read it, how do you say my handle?
Drewy B Yo.
Yes. So my handle is Drewy B Yo.
You're gonna have to spell that.
DREWYBYO.
Yes.
It may. Amanda and I were just talking about that. I may have to change it.
You might have to change it
because people don't seem to get it, and it's also from a long time ago. But
yeah. I think if it was Drew B Yo, I think it's the Drewy part that throws people off.
Think Drewy Bio.
Oh, I see.
And I don't. That's what I've gotten. But I mean, I don't have any. I don't know if I want to be just Drew Beach on Instagram. And I'm trying to get Drew.
Oh yeah.
Someone has that.
Yeah,
it's like a private account with. We
have people in the community. Some people have reached out to me in the community, and they said, hey, look, like if you ever want a Joey Bowen, like we'll get it for you.
Wow.
At
We'll send it my way.
At a cost. Yeah, at a cost,
Because
obviously. But it's a service.
I don't know. I don't know if I want the Drew one. It might not be the one, but DB. I like.
Yeah.
Because people do call me.
Good
that.
luck, dude.
Yeah. Well, send me your people, dude. I know you have people.
That was your opportunity to say that luck favors hard workers. All right, so you're Drew YBYO on Instagram. I'm Joey Digital on Instagram. The reason I brought that up is because someone asked me to do that as well.
Yeah.
You know, they were like, "Hey, you probably get more questions from the community."
Sure.
If you so I wanted to call that out. But so that's where the Carson asked the question on my account, Joey Digital, by the way, which is a nod to actually the RZA. I don't know if you know that.
The Risen?
Yeah, Bobby Digital
No.
from Wu-Tang.
No.
So because I was a programmer,
That's pre my rap. Like
Okay,
my
gotcha.
rap. I mean, I like Biggie. I love Biggie.
I'm a big hip hop head,
but that era of that, like I came into like Dr. Dre, Eminem, Snoop Dogg.
okay, yeah, so you're a little
So
later.
Wu-Tang like precedes them, I believe.
I mean, they were still
Obviously, they're timeless.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But mine, I started programming at an early age, around 11 years old. So I was into computers very, very young.
Yeah.
And nowadays, like kids are programming at like 5.
Five,
But
yeah.
for my generation, it was young. So since I was into computers and I loved Wu-Tang, I had a friend that said, "Oh, you're like Joey Digital instead of Bobby Digital."
That's
So that's
sick.
where mine comes from.
That's sick.
Yeah, so that's where mine
It
comes
is interesting to me that being such a reserved, clean, like polished guy,
from. Yeah.
that like you love gangster rap.
I love hearing. I love hip hop, but I like some gangster rap. But I love hip hop. It's always interesting to me to like get feedback on like how people see me. I love that.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, clean, reserved. Like
Well-
I think I'm the opposite.
Really?
I think I'm like
I mean, like-
unchained,
like,
intense.
You don't want to curse on the show, but then on driving home, you're gonna be listening to songs about
Yes, I will.
Shooting
Yes,
people.
Yes, I will. So, what I will say is, I have intentionally lived a life of experience, and I like to be well versed in a lot of different things, a lot of different types of art, a lot of different types of experience. Like so, I'm easy to figure out, but
No.
I'm also pretty deep.
I disagree that you're easy to figure out.
Yeah. See, I love this.
You're-
We should
you're-
do a whole show where we just do like a rotating
Where we
thing,
think about
where we just
think about
dissect
each
me.
other. Or each other.
And then I'll just dissect you. All right, we're gonna tie this up. Where I was going with it is, this whole episode was inspired by a question, a response to a story that I put out. I had fun doing this. I know the community is going to love it.
Oh yeah.
I want to do more shows, as I'm sure you do too, that are inspired by questions, real questions from the real people in our community that are doing real hard work for real impact. So what we're going to do is we're going to start sourcing questions to answer on the show and show topics from our YouTube comments.
Oh.
Okay, so that's where we're going to do it. Not everybody's on the gram.
And potentially email and SMS as well, right?
Yes, there as well. Look, we're not going to say no to it, but not everybody's on the gram, also. So YouTube seems to be a commonplace.
Yeah.
So on this show, even if you're listening, head to YouTube. Fuel Hunt Show. It ain't hard to find us. Top 25% of podcasts. Shout out. Leave a comment on the show or one of our other shows with a topic that you'd like us to address on the show or a question you'd like us to answer on the show.
Yeah.
Sound good?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sounds great. The other idea, just to preview it here or tease it, but I want to do that stories of the few where people write in
Yes, we are.
and then
we're
we
absolutely gonna do
read
that.
the story and then react.
Yep.
That would be-
I'm going to talk to Dane. We were talking about before how he and his team at Shoemaker Films are doing such an amazing job with just incrementally helping us get better on the set, off the set, right? I told him I'm drawing a line of makeup though. Like if he brings in hair and makeup,
Yeah.
I'm not doing it. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But speaking about getting better, I'm going to ask Dane about what I would love to do during that episode, Stories of the Few episode. If the community member, if the Eagle can't be here with us, I would love to like phone them in. Even if I just call them on the phone and we just chat.
Well, I've seen people do that.
Yeah. I would love to do it.
I've seen people do that Zoom and it like kind of works out.
Yeah,
Can we
yeah.
do that, Dane? Yeah, we do that.
Of course. Yeah, there you go. There you go. All right, let's bring this in for a landing.
Oh yeah, we're behind.
This was an excellent episode. I loved it. I didn't introduce Ernest. I'll pay for that later. Right now, I will leave the few with a reminder for their hard day, potentially. Always choose hard work over handouts. Always choose effort over entitlement. No one owns you. No one owes you. You're one of the few. Now let's hunt.